This ESPN podcast is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com.
Passion, opinion, must-hear radio. This is the Paul Finebaum Show. And now, Paul Finebaum.
And we welcome you to our final broadcast from the Hyatt Regency, a Winfrey Hotel. Welcome back to Birmingham, Alabama, and we're here for the next 4 hours. And Marcus Spear is nice enough to join us before he heads out of town. And Marcus, I was thinking, we've been in Alabama so long, I feel like I've been here long enough to be able to vote, but come to think of it, I think I still am registered to vote here. So it just seems like it's been a long 4 days of SEC Media Day. There's still some scribes hanging around, not too many. Coaches are heading to the airport. A fairly non-eventful final day unless you pay attention to predictions. And yes, it is going to be a little bit confusing if you haven't heard the news that we're about to get you. Anyway, we're here for the next 4 hours. 855-242-7285 is the phone number. Marcus Spears with us. We'll talk to many guests as we go along. But this is what happened earlier. The East and the West were picked. Yet Georgia went to win the East, and Alabama to win the West. That makes sense, I guess. Well, what about the SEC? Auburn was the pick to win the SEC. Yes, it does make a little bit of sense when it is explained. It's been explained to us all morning, Marcus. Apparently,
I still hadn't got it.
Well, I'm going to try. You vote East, you vote West, and then you vote for the champion. And what happened was Auburn did not get a lot of support. And some people voted them third or fourth in the SEC West, so it knocked them down a little bit. We joked earlier when we were on that it's not so much to win the popular vote, although in this case it is to win the popular vote. In the presidential elections, I know you studied at LSU, you have to win the Electoral College. Apparently Auburn won the Electoral College today.
They won the votes that mattered,
yeah.
P-Town. It was unbelievable to see that happen because, I mean, I have Auburn picked to win the SEC, but based on this sheet, it's difficult to see them winning the SEC.
Yeah, Auburn received 108 first-place votes as far as the Western Division. It's a little confusing, and for those of you listening to us, I realize everyone isn't watching and is seeing some of the screens that we're putting up, but this is the East, this is the West. Georgia, the pick to win the East, followed by Tennessee and then Missouri, South Carolina, Florida, and Kentucky. They all received at least one first-place vote. Vanderbilt is the only school in the SEC who didn't get a first-place vote. The West is a little bit different. Alabama, the pick to win the West, but not to win the SEC. Auburn, LSU third, a little higher than some, but Les Miles still has swag. That program still is a brand name. How long it will remain that is something we'll talk about. Arkansas, in spite of all the hype, at number 4. Ole Miss, number 5, in spite of what many think could be the best defense. A&M, 6. And Mississippi State, one of the darlings of last year, at number 7. So that is where we are. It is worth pointing out that only 5 times since 1992 has the media gotten it right. Last year was one of those rare times that the media picked the right winner, but I don't think anyone's really screaming and hollering because we've been saying this for weeks. Auburn was going to be the pick to win the SEC.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter who you put 1 and 2. I think people are going to agree that the best 2 teams probably in this whole conference is between Alabama and Auburn. I think Auburn's going to win the SEC championship, as much as that hurts me to say, but Alabama has no question at quarterback is what I think helped Auburn.
Yeah.
The question at Alabama is who will be the quarterback, and who will replace all of these stars that left.
Didn't hurt Georgia. They're still somewhat undecided at quarterback.
They have Chubb, though.
It is interesting. Yeah, they do. So that's where we are. The All-SEC team, I think, is coming out tomorrow, so we'll get some rest and try to be able to.
Pete, are we still in Alabama?
I think they're moving us as we're in the SEC Nation bus. We're on the way.
The lady came up to my room just now. They were asking me, did I want service? She said, no, sir, you have to leave.
Did I tell you what happened to me in Knoxville 2 weeks ago? So I'm up there doing a Sports Center piece, and I don't know. I mean, I have to get up at some ridiculous hour that you would go hunting, and I was going to the campus. So I packed my bags, but I didn't come. I said, I'll come back and get it during the day. It started raining, and we never were able to get back to campus. So I finally got a call. I said, hey, I'll be there in a minute, okay? I get back to the hotel on the way to the airport. And I feel like my first marriage. I mean, I walk in, and my bag, I go to the room, there's nothing in the room.
That's what she was about to do to me.
They moved me out.
That's what she was about to do to me.
My bags are downstairs. And
I said, where am I supposed to go? I still have to work. I need the hotel room. She said, sir, you have to get out now. So I got out.
Here's what you do. You ask for late checkout.
Yeah. Well, I heard from the crew this morning that they had put sheets under our door saying be out at 12 o'clock, right? I didn't get the sheet.
Well, here's the deal, Marcus.
I thought it was because I was the big swag and the ladies.
You played at LSU, and when you played at LSU, Alabama didn't fare well. So
I have no right to be here.
But anyway, I've never understood hotels. Not to go off on a totally different subject, but you can't check in till 4. But you have to be out by 12. That's not fair.
We go off on different subjects because it's the subject that matters. I feel a certain type of way about getting kicked out of my hotel room.
Just for the record, I was kicked out of a Hilton in Knoxville. You were kicked out of a Hyatt Regency in Alabama.
Yep.
We got a long. Here's the problem: we have a long season to go. That we will be in a lot of the same shades.
There's going to be a lot of getting kicked out going on between.
Well, the good news is when we're together during the year, we're leaving the hotel so early. There's no chance we're getting kicked out.
They don't even see us.
Yeah. I think 1 year, it was 2 years ago, and eventually we'll get to the show.
Yeah, y'all just hang on.
I went to Tallahassee for a game day. And flight was delayed, all kinds of stuff. I checked in at 2 a.m. in the morning at an A-loft in Tallahassee, and at 4:45 I was checking out. Now, usually when you do that, you're accompanied by a young woman. I was accompanied by a hanging bag.
That's why I love you. I love you so much for that.
3 hours, under 3 hours in Tallahassee.
You just became,
and man,
you took it to another level.
It felt so good.
That's what I'm talking about.
855-242-7285. You spent a lot of time with Les Miles today. I saw you were on his arm. I thought you were coming up the aisle.
Yeah.
So what did he have to tell you?
He's excited. I think he understands that the quarterback situation at LSU is not ideal. He feels like both of the guys have gotten better. But, man, when you have questions at quarterback, it's a sketchy feeling. But Les was vintage Les. Stories about not football, just like we doing on the Paul Finebaum show, not talking about football. So I think he diverted.
I see them. Can we show that shot of the Finebaum show again? One second. I think it's the shot that's right below me. I saw a guy in there earlier, like crossing my name out and putting your name on there.
They can't do that.
So what else did Les say?
He's excited about the talent. I felt good because he kind of reiterated the things that we talked about this week. He's just, all coaches right now are optimistic. They think they have the best squad to put out there, and he's in that few where the talent is not a question, the quarterback is a question, and it's a bunch of that going on right now. But we talked about me maybe hijacking this tie on campus when we were there for Nation. Possibly I did that. Possibly I still have it. Possibly I won't return it. We talked about going eat at Sammy's in Baton Rouge and Cane's. We just talked about, we cool. We cool. Like me and you, P-Town. We go, you take me around your neighborhood, show me the golf course. We hijack golf carts, roll around the neighborhood. We go in people's house, so it's just what we do, man. This is the life we live.
Big swagoo and...
look how big I am.
Yeah. Les Miles, that's kind of holding up to you. Did you tell him that your colleague Boogie McFarland pretty much has written them off if they don't win 8 games this year? Or 10 games?
I was hoping that it would be a little scuffle up here on the desk when he got up.
Yeah, I got out, as you noticed. What happened?
Well, Boog shied away from the question he really wanted to ask. I mean, Boog is not like you and I.
Yeah.
I mean, we if we have to go in, that's just what we have to do. Now, they'll like us later, because usually me and you right.
Marcus Spears with us, and a lot to talk about. And SEC Media Day is something that we look forward to for months. We count it down. It comes, it goes, and next week there's still no football.
None.
But it's close. Almost every coach I spoke to, and you did during the first 4 days here, the 4 days, they're all back in gear. It's not like they're going on vacation next week. A lot of people are, but the clock has finally struck zero, and these guys are all in mode. And a lot of the coaches are not a lot. All of them are they still have media next week, Monday and Tuesday in Connecticut. They're all back there again, going through another media day, so to speak, and we'll have a lot of coverage of that Monday and Tuesday here. 855-242-7285. We've only just begun. You can tell the mood is pretty light on the set.
Only just begun.
Little rap version of a Carpenter's hit from the 70s. We'll be right back. I appreciate everyone being here. We're not really tired. We're just kind of punch drunk.
Yeah.
And one thing we never do, we don't drink on the show, although we can drink before the show.
We can drink before.
It's pretty obvious we have today.
Absolutely.
Welcome back. We're going to grab some phone calls here. We will get serious. 855-242-7285. A lot of reaction to what has happened, the polls, the voting. Let's grab some call. I was actually at an event last night and saw Commissioner Sankey with some SEC people. You were there, obviously, and our ESPN folks. And Greg Sankey said, I saw the guy calling the other night from Walnut Creek. He said the Pac-12 used to be out in Walnut Creek, California. It's Northern California. And that is you, Reggie. Good afternoon.
Yeah, actually, I live right around the corner from where the headquarters were, Paul. I live right around the corner from where the office is. But I wanted to talk to you and the Big Swagoo. First of all, to the Big Swagoo, keep your mouth closed. You can't sing. Okay.
I'm glad I don't get a text.
What were you trying? What tone were you trying to go, man?
I had no tone. I was just doing. I felt good about it, so I went with it.
I love you, but you know what? Hey, keep your day job there with Paul.
I hear the Swagoo singing all the time on Saturday morning.
Oh, you better let them know, Paul.
I will say one thing, though, Reggie. You're a better singer than Tim Tebow.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what? La 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 la. You know, I'll do that. Hey, but it's Thursday, and hey, I missed you guys for a couple of weeks, therefore. But I wanted to, first of all, find out from you, Paul, what did you give Nick Saban yesterday for such a great interview? I mean, he was open, he was forthcoming, and it's the best interview, I've heard him give, to a media person in a while. The second is Steve Spurrier. You know what? I think this guy's got something up his sleeve this year. He's got some type of secret weapon or something, but he just gives me that type of feeling that, hey, you guys don't count South Carolina off. And I'm a big Auburn fan, War Eagle. And since it's Thursday, every Thursday I always ask you this one question. Where are they now? And the one that I'm going to bring up today is actually Bill Battle.
Well, it's funny, Reggie. I saw Bill Battle Monday night at a function here in Birmingham, and where Bill Battle is about 50 miles from where we are right now. He's the athletic director at the University of Alabama.
See how long I've been away from Alabama?
Yeah.
You need to come back, Reggie, to see if they can keep my hotel room a little bit.
Hey, Swagoo, the game with Auburn this year, how do you feel about that?
The Iron Bowl?
No, Auburn at LSU, right?
Oh, Auburn at LSU? It'll be a dog
the third
fight.
game of the year.
I think that is.
It'll be a dog
I think
fight.
that's a very dangerous game.
That'll be a pivotal game for Auburn.
I think you could see a season wrecked and a season made.
Yeah, if they're going to be what we believe they're going to be, they're going to need to win that game. It's just hard to win in Death Valley, just like it's hard to win on the road anywhere else. But that's the problem. LSU has the pieces to do it. If they have good quarterback play that game, they'll compete. I think all of these teams right now just want to get these games to the fourth quarter and then see what happens, because that's probably your best chance of winning instead of it being over early. So we'll see.
You know,
that's a huge game for Auburn and LSU.
You know what? I think you're right, because Auburn went there, I think, in 94 or 93. You know, it's been so long. But they had a Lofton ranking. I think they were like number 2 or number 3 in the nation. And LSU beat them. And the season went downhill from there. Hopefully that doesn't change, but we'll see this year. Hey, I appreciate you taking my call, Paul.
Reggie, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Chuck in Knoxville, Tennessee. Good afternoon, Chuck.
How you guys doing? Spears, I miss seeing you play, brother.
Oh, man, appreciate it, man.
All I wanted to see is what you think about Butch Jones. Outside the lines, just did a story on Florida State, 18 sexual assaults, only one prosecuted. I'm here to tell you, I live up here. Butch Jones, you mess up, you're gone.
Yeah.
And another thing about Butch, he's not just recruiting great athletes, he's recruiting great academic athletes. And I think we have a GPA well over 3.0 right now for the first time in
Chuck,
history.
I mean, Tennessee's had a number of issues off the field. Butch Jones, I do think, is trying to change the culture up there. It's not the easiest thing to do. Lance is in Tennessee, and you are next up.
Oh, sitting here watching two of America's Most Wanted. You know how it is. Hey, man, I got to tell you, speaking of wanted, Marcus Spears, you wanted, man. But let me say this to Paul. Paul, it feels like you're saying, well, just, you know what I'm saying? It feels like to me that you're putting all your eggs in the basket for Georgia this year, and if they don't win, you're going to have a hard time putting faith in the program again, because I've never seen you so high on Georgia before. I mean, it just feels like you're putting
Let me explain that, because I'm just making a prediction. It's I wouldn't put too much money on any of this. I think Georgia is in very good shape. I just happen to like a lot of aspects of that team. Do I think they could lose at Tennessee? I sure do.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think Tennessee is going to win it. I picked them first in the East for myself because they don't have a question at quarterback.
I'm actually not that high on anyone for the most part, Lance. I think it's, and I haven't been in this position in a while, but I think it's going to be extremely difficult to avoid 2 losses.
This will be one of the more exciting years for SEC fans.
Yeah.
Because it'll be so many unknowns going into the season.
I do too. That's why I've been giving you a hard time, because Florida and they get no optimism, and they're just getting cut out.
I'm definitely with Tennessee after that, and I would probably go Missouri and South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Kentucky. Did I leave anyone out, Lance?
Yeah, Florida, man. They should be about first. But let me tell you, Marcus Spears, you picked Kentucky to beat Florida this year, man. You're way too smart to say something like that. I mean, I don't see how you get the talent level.
In my opinion.
I don't understand how Florida
listen to Lance. He knows a lot. He played in the NFL for 10 years.
They can't get to 5-3 this year. I respect everything you say. How come Florida can't be one game better? That just blows my mind.
They may be, Lance, but I just have to go by what I think gives Kentucky an advantage to win the game. That's it. And last year they played them tough. Do you think Florida is going to be that much improved this year?
I think their defense is the same, and I think their offense will be better with Jim McElwain. And I think the quarterback.
Well, we don't know. We'll find out. Daryl is in Columbus, Georgia. Daryl, thanks.
Let me just explain it to Lance, okay? It's real simple. It's not hard. In the East, you got two teams. You got Georgia and you got Missouri. Then that's it. You got Tennessee with a lot of hype coming along with them. You got a South Carolina team that you really don't know that much about, that has split some. And then other than that, you got the three bottom feeders, Kentucky, Florida, and Vanderbilt.
How long have you waited to make that statement, Daryl?
It's not hard, though. I mean, you ain't got to be some Einstein to figure it out, Lance. I mean, good heavens, Paul.
Well, no danger of Lance being Einstein.
Good Lord. Whoever came up with this voting system, I mean,
it's silly.
It really is. It has no merit to it. I enjoy stuff like this. It's fun to look at, but at least let it have some merit. You can't. You
should vote for divisions, and the team that gets the most percentage, whatever, wins out. It's ridiculous to have it.
However you going to do it? You can't say one team is going to win the West and then the other one's going to play for the SEC championship because that's impossible.
I didn't want to even look at it. I just don't need it. I don't need it right now.
Well, what did Paul say? Paul said they ain't been correct like 5 times since 19.
5 times in 23 years.
So it doesn't matter anyway.
Marcus, you said that Alabama and Auburn are clearly the two best teams in the SEC. I don't understand how you decide. Clearly the two best teams in the SEC. First of all, let me say this about Auburn. Look at what they had last year. I mean, if that quarterback is really that good, when he started last year, I mean, he might have been a little bit better than Marshall last year, but if he was just 3 times better, he'd been on the field as a starter. He was a junior this year. I mean, that's another team I think it's just a lot of hype on Auburn. I'm not just picking them in the SEC. You know,
for me, looking at Auburn, it's really not about Jimmy Johnson being better than Nick Marshall. I think for the past 4 years, their offense has been what they are. They score a lot of points. They score on anybody, and that's what they've been able to do for Gus Malzahn's tenure. And then defensively, I know, actually, and I hate to say I know, but I know they'll be better on defense because of Muschamp. Does that make them, 10 times better? No, but you got to remember, the year before last, Auburn was in the SEC championship, and then this year they played in the Iron Bowl to try to go to the SEC championship, and not much has changed about their team. They got a big-time recruit named Jovan Robinson at running back from JUCO, number 1 guy coming out. He's probably going to be the normal, really good running back that you usually see at Auburn. It's just things that line up. I don't expect everybody to agree with me there. I just think they'll be the best team in the West.
You know we got a pretty good running back up in Athens, too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got 4 by 5 offensive linemen are back from last year. I agree with you on Muschamp. I think Florida
By the way, I had a really nice chat with Malcolm Mitchell today. Boy, he's one of my favorite guys. What a cool guy.
Oh, yeah.
He was going to be a star when he blew out his hamstring after they always blow him out 3 ways anyway. And that first game with Georgia against Clemson blew out that hamstring. I tell you what, that kid has some major talent. He really does. And I hope he steps it up this year. He's going to be at the wide receiver. All right, Paul. Hey, Paul. Dude, it seems like it's been forever, man. I mean, glad to finally hear you back on the radio. I hope you enjoyed your week off because the rest of us didn't. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't have the Paul Finebaum show without Paul Finebaum. You hear me?
I will never miss another show again.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I heard that before. All right, see you, fellas.
Thank you.
All right, Daryl.
Man, you take a few days off, you get your chops busted here.
What you get? Sorry. That's what you get.
I mean, I was looking for another job. I mean, you can't do that while you're at work every day. 855-242-7285. We're coming back. Barrett Sallee will be with us in a couple of minutes. Maybe he can explain how the media voted today. We still haven't figured it out.
Hi, I'm Joan.
Has popped on the Marcus Spears Show desk, and Barrett, you're in the trenches. You know all this stuff. I mean, you write 14,000 stories a day and 24,800 tweets.
Who's going to win, man?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask.
Who's going to win the SEC?
I picked Alabama. I think Alabama beats Tennessee. I think they beat them twice. I think Alabama has one loss. I haven't decided exactly which one it is yet, but Alabama sort of earned the benefit of the doubt to, whatever questions they have. They still win at an elite level. Last year, their secondary was pretty abysmal. I mean, they gave up big play after big play. They still won the SEC and played in the college football playoff. Even 2 years ago in 2013, they entered the rivalry weekend undefeated. They still gave up big plays in the secondary. So, they've sort of earned that benefit of the doubt. I think some of Alabama's questions are a little bit overblown. People see that number, 9 new starters, and just panic.
Oh, yeah.
Derrick Henry's one of those. He led them in rushing last year. Kenyon Drake's going to be a starter and a star.
Now,
he's been around forever.
Kenyon Drake, I haven't heard his name mentioned all week. I mean, talk about all the great running backs. Yeah. We know Henry, but Kenyon Drake was headed for that direction until he went down last year.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be Reggie Bush, and that's exactly. And he was kind of going down that path. And you saw in the Florida game a little bit of a different dynamic, and he was a big part of that. So yeah, I mean, he's probably going to be Amari Cooper, and not in the sense that he's going to catch 124 balls, but he's going to be the guy that the offense sort of centers around and really sort of eases the transition to a new quarterback.
We have not talked about it much today because it was played out yesterday, but for those who woke up this morning around the country and still pick up newspapers, both of you, there were headlines in many, New Orleans, USA Today, across the country about Nick Saban, and almost everyone, and I would never accuse the media of doing this, Barrett, but it's like 5 or 6 guys sat in the same room and said, let's go hammer Nick Saban.
Sure.
And he got destroyed, something we haven't seen very often.
No, and it's sort of a continuing trend. I mean, it hadn't been a great offseason for him from a PR perspective, but, I don't think he cares all that much. He's going to be labeled a whiner, and that's okay, fine, whatever. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. He still wants to affect change, and I think everyone can agree, whether you think he's whining or making excuses or not, it's a good idea to probably move back the calendar for the NFL draft evaluation. That makes a ton of sense. So I think he comes here, and you guys know, every year he comes here with, 1 or 2, 3 things he really wants to get accomplished. And I think he's going to go do it regardless of what PR blowback is. And, at this point, because of the way the offseason sort of gone, I don't think he cares how it's perceived as long as he affects change.
I agree with you. I'm not sure he doesn't care. But the point is, does this matter that Nick Saban is now being viewed under a different prism?
I don't think so, because at least in this aspect, he's talking about his players going to the NFL. From a recruiting perspective, that's all they hear, and that's all they care about. Yeah. So I just, again, from everybody else, their opinion doesn't matter. As long as prospects still like him and boosters still are okay with him, and if he keeps winning football games, I think that'll be okay. I don't think it matters.
And last check, they still like him.
Yeah, but he's been okay for that, for himself.
Because he wins.
And
he wins. We talk about these issues that he addresses, and, every year is something to get on Coach Saban about, but at the end of the day, he wins football games.
Yeah.
And that's what he gets paid to do. Mm-hmm. More than anything, he gets paid to win football games.
No, he does, but... there's a little bit of this Mark.
You want something to happen, don't you?
With Saban,
you want something to happen.
You know it, Mark.
I know it. I can see it. It's building up in your body.
I have been gunning for Nick Saban since the day he arrived in Alabama. And I'm just saying, we are going to beat him down and run him out of the state.
But isn't that the case, though? Just like with a football team, when you're good, everybody wants to fall, And eventually somebody else will take the crown. But right now, Nick Saban has the crown, so everything is magnified when he says something. That's a part of being in his position, So, hey, listen, I know the guy, Coach Saban. Mm-hmm. Winning football games is what he likes to do better than anything. So,
well, and Barrett, you definitely have been consistent on that. The media was a little bit nutso today. They explain to me why we have this system, and I realize it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. We are just the media, but is there a better way to vote on this so people around the country are not scratching their heads?
Well, I think I figured out the explanation. A lot of us spent way too much time at On Tap, where there's 100 beer taps, and that's why we are where we're today. No, I don't understand it. I understand how the procedure. I think what it really is Auburn's more volatile in the minds of people that are voting. People that think they're going to be good think they're going to be really good, and maybe not so much on the backside of that. Alabama, the people that don't think they're going to be elite, with the exception of Peter Burns,
who was that again?
Some guy he hosted a show last week somewhere.
Peanut butter jelly.
No, I think for the most part, people recognize that Alabama's floor is still like 10 wins.
Let me ask you, I mean, certainly if you measured the oxygen of who got what this week, Alabama, Spurrier, a lot of attention, Tennessee, Auburn, who was, other than Vanderbilt and Kentucky, who got left out this week? Was it Mississippi State?
No, I think it's Missouri. I mean, Missouri, and it's not anything that they did, it's what they didn't do. I mean, Missouri just sort of always flies under the radar, and if they want the perception of the program to change, they need to use this stage to help raise that perception of the program and raise the awareness. Going to the SEC championship game is great, but, you know, if they just approach everything business as usual, you sort of get lost. And I think a team like Arkansas benefits from this exposure because for the things that Brett Bielema says, and he goes off on tangents, which we all love, but that brings attention to Arkansas. I don't know how much that matters, but in the off-season, you know, the stages of the off-season, Missouri should use this to their advantage.
Yeah, I mean, we had a conversation with Gary Pinkel yesterday, which I thought was the best conversation we've ever had. I mean, he's a very interesting, deep-thinking guy, but at the end of the day, Missouri is kind of boring, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. But they want to be boring. They want to do that, that's fine. I don't think they should.
They get excited about renewing a rivalry with Kansas. That doesn't play well in the SEC.
There's a place for it, though.
Oh, no,
everything's so polarized in this conference. There's a place for Missouri. I like where Missouri is. Listen, it seems like, and I know it's a lot of people that influences at the University of Missouri, it seems like the whole school takes on Gary Pinkel's mentality.
They really do.
I mean, unassuming, just, look, guys, I'm here, I'm the coach, I'm the head coach of the football team. That's all you need to know. Now let me go back and coach and get my players to be the best they can be.
We're going to do what we do.
I love that.
I mean, Missouri is the show-me state for a reason. I mean, it's a little bit different. I mean, it's the Midwest. They're good, wholesome people. Not to say everyone else isn't.
They have some big old deer down there,
the mentality of sports in Alabama and Louisiana is a little different than in the middle of Missouri.
Yeah, and they have big deer. I just had to throw that in there.
And a lot of people, Missouri's record 11-3, that didn't catch me by surprise. But, you know, they really, it was such a weird 11-3 with the loss, the blowout to Georgia and that inexplicable game against Indiana.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was. And they could, that's what, again, getting back to, they could use this stage to sort of raise the program awareness, remind people that, hey, we're the two-time SEC East defending champions. We're here, and we're not going anywhere, and here's what we're about instead. It's just, we just do what we do, which go about our business. Well, that works, but, you know, is it going to work forever? I don't know, not in the SEC East.
Barrett Sallee will continue the conversation with Barrett, the big swagoo here, until, by the way, they just told you you're kicked out of your room again.
Again? What'd you do?
I stayed too long.
He did not read the fine print.
I ordered room service after I was supposed to get kicked out.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good thing to do. That's
a great thing to do.
That goes on somebody else's bill.
Well, I hope they forgot the tab.
This is a 5-star hotel. Beware.
5-star. Winfrey?
We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
When our water heater...
Welcome everyone back to the program. A couple more minutes with Barrett. Marcus has a little bit more time. I just saw a bellman with your bags.
I'm just playing. I'm watching you and Barrett play tennis.
It's been fun.
I love it.
We were talking a little bit during our break here about teams moving up, teams moving out. I still think LSU is the most intriguing story. The media still likes them at number 3, but there's just no way, Barrett, to wrap your arms around this program because they broke a lot of hearts last year. What about this year?
Yeah, I was surprised to see them 3rd. I really was. Yeah, I think it's hard to like LSU because you kind of know what you're getting at quarterback.
Wait a minute.
I know you. Personally, I know. I get it.
Okay. All right, Barrett.
I'm going to sit back. You guys talk.
No, I mean, you know, it's almost like the known at quarterback is makes LSU a lot more harder to love because if it is Anthony Jennings, and right now clearly Anthony Jennings is is behind Brandon Harris because of the suspension. He still kind of is who he is. He's a 50% passer. He's going to make some bad decisions. He's going to struggle to make decisions in the pocket. And if it's Brandon Harris, why didn't he win the job last year? Has he really developed that maturity? Because if there was a time for him to get that job, it was last year, and he didn't do it. So it's just hard to love them. And then on top of that, the switch to Kevin Steele and what could be more of a 3-4-ish, 4-3 kind of hybrid mix with personnel that's purely 4-3. They didn't get pressure last year on the quarterback, and their 2 top pass rushers are gone. It's hard to love.
How would you respond?
Well, it's easy for me to love them. I love them to death. Okay? And this is what I think, just from a football side, Barrett. What I look at with LSU is I really feel like it was 2 games last year that they really weren't competitive in. Mm-hmm. That was Auburn and Mississippi State. I thought the physicality Mississippi State played with, they just couldn't match it. And then I thought that the Auburn game, when you did try to throw Brandon, that was a bad situation to try to put him in that situation. But when you saw them at their best without great quarterback play, Alabama to overtime, Ole Miss. Sure. So that's probably why all of the intrigue is there. Yeah. But I had never seen a quarterback make a jump like it's expected for Brandon Harris or Anthony Jennings. But I think because of the competitive nature in which they played, I mean, Alabama basically, that went to the college football playoffs, I think that's why people believe that they may have a chance of being that 3rd seed team.
I think the big thing for them is Kendall Beckwith, who is here, and he was not their starting middle linebacker last year. I think that was a big problem. Once it went, and he kind of went in late in the Auburn game. It was too late to really make an impact in that game. But once he became a starter, things got a little better. They still didn't get pressure on the quarterback, but they were a little more consistent. And so I think if they can use that as a springboard, find a way to get a pass rush, however they can do, whether it's Tayshaun Bauer or whoever, it's going to at least keep them in games. But keeping them in games is not what wins games. Especially when you
has the best shot outside of the state of Alabama to get to Atlanta from the west?
Ole Miss. Ole Miss is, I really like Ole Miss. I don't care about the quarterback situation. Chad Kelly, I think, is going to win it. He'll be fine. If they can find a running game between the tackles, and Hugh Freeze loves Jordan Wilkins. I mean, just absolutely loves him. If they can run between the tackles, I don't know how you stop them. The defense is just filthy. The offensive line, I think, is going to be better than people give them credit for because they have a little more depth because of last year's struggles. Yeah. And the wide receiving core is lights out. So I really like Ole Miss. I think if there is a team that's going to, perhaps catch lightning in a bottle and make a run, it could be Ole Miss, like as a dark horse. And they're going to need consistency from Chad Kelly, but I think he certainly can do that.
That defense is filthy, and you know how I felt about the Land Sharks last year. My only concern with Ole Miss is if you don't establish a run game and you don't stop the run in the SEC, it's been proven that you won't win. So if they could get those 2 things fixed, I talked about that earlier. If these guys can establish some type of run game with Evan Ingram and Treadwell on the outside, that's the best receiving core because of those 2 guys. Cody Core had a good year last year also. At a boy Joe. So you have every piece. And like you said, I'm not as concerned about the quarterback position, but I've sat here time and time again and saw guys not be what we thought they would be. Stop the run and have a run game, and Ole Miss could very well win it.
Here's the thing. 5 of the last 6 starters in the national championship game. 5 of the last 6 winners of the national championship game, first-year starters. 8 of the last 12 starters in the national championship game, first-year guys. It's about the quarterback not making mistakes and the cast around him, and the cast around whoever wins that job at Ole Miss is doing something right. It's going to be a really, really good team.
So you have Tennessee and Alabama. You have Auburn
and Tennessee.
Man, a lot of love for Tennessee. And is it, in terms of not going with Georgia, what is it?
It's a couple things. One, I don't love that roster right now. It's not just the quarterback situation. It's the wide receivers behind Malcolm Mitchell. It's a brand new defensive line. Now, I know Trent Thompson and some of these guys that are coming in are really good. You're talking about 18-year-olds going up against 22-year-old men. That's a big problem. And then on top of that, that game's in Knoxville. It's the week after they play Alabama. Yeah. And you're talking about a Georgia team that really has been a couple bounces away from losing to Tennessee each of the last 2 seasons with a far superior roster to the Vols. Now I think Tennessee has a roster that's comparable and possibly even better than Georgia. I think
schedule-wise, that might be the toughest game that anyone has in this league. And you can look at Alabama and Auburn a lot of places, but we all know the Alabama-Georgia game is going to be the most hyped game of the front part of the year. We don't know that mystery game like we kept seeing last year, games that you couldn't have predicted.
I don't know. Ole Miss, Alabama, though, week 3 in Tuscaloosa with a lot of mystery around Ole Miss because they've got a couple cupcakes before that. That's a fun one, too.
Yeah, I mean, again, if Alabama loses that game, then the Alabama-Georgia game certainly, and how Tennessee plays is a factor because Tennessee has Oklahoma.
I'll be watching Tennessee very closely this year.
There are a lot of things to talk about, and Barrett has certainly been nice enough to join us. You could, Marcus Pierce could walk through there and not even hit anybody. That's where SEC Media Day is on the final day.
Geico presents Strange Savings Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And now, for Geico's edition of Stuff Found in Your Car, we go inside your side door pocket.
Hello, yes, the crumpled receipt with gum in it. From your anniversary dinner, you sprang for expensive wine, your server was Beth. That dinner was a couple $100. Money you could get back if you switched to Geico and saved hundreds of dollars on your car insurance. I bet you'd save that receipt, frame it even. But really, where did I go wrong? Was it the corkage fee?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com today.
The Boston Red Sox begin the second half with a road trip to the AL West, where they'll face Mike Trout and the LA Angels.
Dives in, and he made the catch!
First pitch is Sunday at 8 Eastern on ESPN and on ESPN Radio.